Hello everybody, September 30th, 2022. We're going to look at Bitcoin, and first let's review what I said on Monday. The 27th was the last video, or 26th was the last video. Title of the video was Trash Action, Expect More Chop. And that was right around here. I think we were hovering right about 20K. So within hours of that video, guess what? We had more chop. We had a $2,000 dump all the way down to 18.5, and then over the course of the week we proceeded upwards again back into the 20Ks. So that has completely come true. And you know, I said basically what I was looking at is this all still looked like corrective action. We didn't have clear direction either way. The threat of the lower low still looms. That's still true. The bulls needed to continue in a possible diagonal. They failed to do that. And so this is pretty much out of the picture now. And the bears, what they need to do was break down out of the diagonal, which they did, but unfortunately we just turned that into more chop. However, we do potentially have a 1-2 setup down for the downside. So I'll go over a couple different options here. Now there are more possibilities. As you know, when stuff gets really choppy like this, it kind of opens up a lot of different possibilities. But it's all pretty much, in my opinion, just delaying the fact that we are likely going down here into the 17 or 16K area. But as long as we're above 15.7, the larger bull market is still potentially alive. Okay. So real quick recap, we are looking for this WXY to end, which means I'm looking for A, B, and C in the green there, A, B, C, within that Y. I think we've got A pretty much for sure in place here, and the question is whether or not we have B. We do have enough waves for it to be a B. That was basically where we were on Monday. This was A, B, C of B. And then this move down, let me zoom in a little bit here. This move down wasn't super clear, it being 5 waves, but you can see I have it labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a potential first wave down. And so we've been looking for the correction up since then to kind of trigger us back down to the downside. And everything off of this low has been corrective. We had, actually, let me go into like the 15-minute. I'm going to show you what I showed the group earlier in the week. And it actually made me short heavily up here in this area. I've actually got shorts between 20 and 20.2K that I picked up earlier today, and I actually sold all of my 19.3K buys. I sold them at about 20.1. And let me just, cancel this. Give me 1 second, just so you know I'm not full of crap. Here we go, take a little screenshot of this. This is September 30th, that's today, 11:30 a.m. I'm selling my 19.3 Bitcoin spot buys here in Slight Profit. I'll rebuy below 18, right? I also shorted at the same time, said I was doing that as well. Okay, so that was 11 a.m. That was right here, okay? Literally the top during these 2 candles. That's where I sold all of my spot buys. So I'm no longer all in on crypto. I did bail on some of my alt positions as well because I am waiting for lower at this point. You know, we have enough information here to say this is very likely not the bottom. Even if it continues up a little bit higher, we are likely to see new lows. So let me just show you exactly how complex this has become. We've got ABC here, which could have been the end of a correction, but then we went up higher with another ABC, so this has become now W, X, and Y, right? And then same thing, ABC down is a W, here's our X, ABC down is a Y. ABC up is a W. Here's our X. ABC over is a Y. Okay, and so what that has done then is created a, look at the blue, WXY up, WXY down, WXY up. That's created a larger WXY correction. None of this action is bullish. This is all corrective action. That's why I sold everything at 20.2. When I was looking at it and said, hey, you know what, this, I even said it last night, actually, this was expected. Just going to go ahead and show you that as well. Okay, here it is, September 30th. This was midnight last night. And here's, you can see all of the action I literally just showed you. We may see a move, one more micro high into the 19.6 to 20.2 region. We hit pretty much exactly 20.2. Okay, I even said nothing bullish about any of this, just delaying the inevitable move down. Right, so there you go. Called it last night. This was going to hit 20.2 and then proceed downwards. And so that is what we've begun. And so now the question is, primary scenario is for this to continue downwards, but I'll show you the alternate scenario. Because all of this is choppy, it's very unreliable, and because of how high this came, it's very, very close to the top. So it's not necessarily a reliable 1, 2 because of how high it came. I'm counting it that way for now, and I'm going to assume that's what's playing out for now, but it is possible we get one more high. I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but for now let's assume this is our 1, this is our 2, because we got 5 waves down and we have a very large choppy 3 waves up like that. All right, from that high, 20.2K earlier today, we saw a strong rejection downwards. This time frame honestly is too small to see realistically. Let me go down. Let's see if we can even see it on like a 1 minute chart. We may or may not be able to make out 5 waves in this initial move down is the problem. Let me turn this off so it's easier to see. Okay. So what we have is a potential. It's not super clear, but we potentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, something like that, for a micro first wave. And then the action after that, I was watching and watching it form this Elliott wave triangle, and it actually formed it quite nicely. In a triangle, you should have ABCs pretty much the whole way. So we've got ABC up in an A, ABC down in a B, ABC up in a C, ABC down in a D, ABC up in an E. After that is all filled in, then you expect the breakdown, and that is exactly what we saw. So that looked like a really good Elliott wave triangle, and that was therefore the end of the second wave right at the top of that spike there. So when I'm drawing my fib extension then, I do it from the very top here, down to the bottom of 1, which is right there, and then over to the end of 2, which is here. So it's not actually this high, it's the end of 2, which is over here in the triangle. So from there, again, this is all very choppy. So maybe this is doing an impulse down, maybe not. For now, I'm treating it as such so that I can have some targets here, just to track its progress and see what it's doing, see if it does anything unexpected. Okay. Initially, I was looking at this potentially as our first wave down because it hit the 618, and that's normally what we see, right? And that's the first wave within the third wave. Okay, so we normally see that 1, 2, and that looked really good. It went to the 382. We should have seen an acceleration downwards, and we did not. So I think I have to modify this a little bit at this point. If this is going to stay looking impulsive, then this should be our micro 1 here. It is a little deep though. It got pretty close to the 1.0, so I can't say with confidence that that's what it's doing. If this starts breaking up higher again, then this is yet another ABC, and we're likely to do another ABC up after that. So that's the thing to watch for. If this starts breaking up higher, it can still make another high after this, and I'll just short even more, that's fine, if it does that. But for now, let's hope that this is playing out. Based on this 1 and 2, our third wave should go to about the 1618. But with how extended this first wave is, if in fact that's what it's doing, it may end up going a little bit deeper than that. So I'm not exactly sure where we're going to go yet. Let me delete this for a minute and try to look at the lower time frame here, assuming that's a 1. And I think this is probably A, B, and we'll probably get a C slightly higher here, maybe back up to 19.5 or so for that second wave. So let's just assume we get something along those lines. Then that's going to be 1, 2. This would actually push 3 of 3 down here. Move these out of the way. And 4 of 3 somewhere around here, and 5 of 3 down here. That would then be a very extended third wave, okay, down to about 18.5. And again, not all of this is filled out at this point, so can't say with certainty this is what it's doing, but then fourth wave would probably come about here, fifth wave down to about 18K, give or take. So that's kind of what I'm watching for this to fill out as, but it may or may not actually do that. As I said, everything has been choppy so far, and if we don't see the follow through to the downside, then we can still see one more high. And let me show you what I believe is going to happen if that's the case. So we've been looking for this, if you remember, green A, green B. I said maybe green B is done, maybe it's not. And so the reason is we could make a higher high in green B. And that would then be a larger A, B, C up in green B. And so if we're going to go higher, we can get a target now for that because we've got this and this and this. We can extend essentially as high as 21.3 and realistically just be an extension on this B wave. That is a possibility. Now, let me get rid of that and zoom in here. What we would expect if this is the case, this is, as I said, the A wave, the initial wave of B. Here's the B wave of B. And now C wave of B should take the shape of 5. And so what we are going to see in this scenario is a 5-wave diagonal, because this is all chop, as I've said. So this would be wave 1, 2, 3. We're working on 4 right now, and then 5 up will likely only get us into the middle of this box. It probably is not going to get us to the top of that box. So moral of the story is, even if this makes yet another higher high, this is all just chop and all just delaying before we go down further. So I would love to take the direct route down. That would be fantastic if we could, because it just gets it over with sooner. But if we do go higher, it is not bullish. Nothing about this is bullish. All of the actions since this low, which is what we need to look at, all of it has been 3-wave chop every single step of the way. It's all chop, chop, chop. So even if this fills out 5 waves in a diagonal at this point, it is not considered bullish, in my opinion. The only way that it could possibly be considered bullish is if all of this becomes part of a larger diagonal, meaning 1 there, 2 here, 3 really blows out that B wave box, 4 down needs to hold the diagonal, and then 5 up for another diagonal upwards. But I really don't see that happening, and I would struggle to call it super bullish anyway, just because it still does look like we need another low there. Now, the only support in support of that is that we did break this low that we had struck previously. That's the only reason that we can even consider that, because we did take out that low at least. But it's certainly not a scenario that we want to see, because diagonals are super unreliable and just not great risk reward along the way for trading. Makes it a lot harder. Okay, so yeah, that was super complicated. I hope it made some sort of sense to everybody. But this is very, very choppy in here, and I'm trying to track it. It is sometimes a mistake to try to even bother tracking all of the chop, because it just can do whatever the heck it wants, honestly. But the main moral of the story is I really don't see a high probability of the bottom being in. I think regardless of what happens, even if we go a bit higher, we should still see lower lows down here that are likely to take out this low here, which we struck back in June. I think that June low needs to get taken out. That was about 17,650, give or take. So I'm very much expecting that to get taken out, but we'll keep watching it, keep tracking it, and see what happens as we progress. So you guys have a great weekend. Try not to get chopped up in all of this. It is brutal trying to short-term trade this right now. I think the best case scenario is just kind of waiting for the chop to clear up and make some trades based on that. But as I said, I'm now in some shorts, and I've gone mainly back to cash. I do have some crypto still, but I'm mainly back in cash at this point because this is just ridiculous chop. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. I'll talk to you all on Monday.